Hey everybody, Charlie902 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, we heard the opening statement from Alucard himself that was very damning against our defendant, Mr. McGilded. Let's go ahead and continue this court case and see what happens. When the killing took place, only the victim and the accursed were inside the carriage. Oh, and if you don't get this voice, I'm trying to do the Alucard voice from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accursed. Of course you're going to bring up coffin. You vampire-looking... dreamy-looking vampire. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. We're not going to have an opening statement? Shouldn't we have an opening statement? Am I confused on how law works? I probably am. Your wish is my command. Such drama. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Oh, goodness gracious. Why are you so cold, man? Witnesses, your names and occupations. Beppo? My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. Why are you so cold, dude? Like, nobody else is this cold in here. There's something wrong. Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. She's the driver. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. You also look like Peaky Blinders, my man. My name's First. Lady First. I make hats for gents. You make hats, but yours is like sewn in half there? I don't know. Lady First. That's your name? Are you a female disguised as a male? Because that's what it's looking like. Let's begin by confronting the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Why are you so cold? Quite right. Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Very well, then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. I don't get an opening statement, huh? Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. It was the It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were set next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. You have a whip in the courtroom? Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. Ellipses. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, How could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the eastern island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. Was it a photograph? What do you mean? The actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much? Yes? The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Is it going to be evidence? Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff. Dramatic. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. How'd y'all get it through the door? Okay, well. So that's an omnibus, the omnibus. If they were inside still, how would they have seen? I feel like that was a valid point. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Oh, we got a drawing. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests, that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. A skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. You have a toupee on, it's so cute. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. Can we investigate? I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. The omnibus has been entered into the court record. The 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof deck that night. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence, but let's look at it. Court record time. Boom. All right, there's a lot to this. All right, let's start the way it was presented to us. There's the door we can look at. We can look up here. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? And they have to pay money to do so? I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Okay, that didn't help us at all. Let's look at the door. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. Okay, so we can look around the inside. Skylight. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description, so suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least. Okay, it's a picture. Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Ooh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Okay. What's this? The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And it's only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. What? Are you supposed to say that right now? Oh, okay. That it would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Alright, what's this? The seat has a handle, it seems. Luggage. Y'all didn't clean out the luggage? This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. What about all of this space right here? This is all the same thing, right? I believe so. Here's the door to get out. Let's look at the blood. That's blood that's been soaked into the seat, the victim's, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. There is blood in here, which kind of... I mean, I guess he could still be dead and be placed in here, but who knows? What's this? Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower. Okay, so that's the same thing. We're going to skip over that because it's the same text that we had before. Windows. We've already looked at the skylight. All right, let's go outside. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside then. All right, let's take a look at the exterior. We'll go over each side independently. We've already looked at that. All right, let's look at where the driver sits. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people say, okay, they already talked about this too, so we're going to skip this. I thought they were going to talk about the driver's seat, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Lanterns. Where you connect the horses to. What's this? Nope, can't tell us that. Let's look at this side. Roof deck. Let's look at the back. 418 Phoenix Wright Omnibus. And we can't really look underneath. And can we look at the top anymore? Let's look at the skylight from the top. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. All right, I think we've looked at everything. Yeah, the driver's seat doesn't have its own thing. All right, we've inspected the omnibus. Can't believe it, the entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. I've already done that. Let us continue with proceedings then, your cross-examination counsel. Pray, don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Deep breath. All right, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. You got this, brother. Let's do it. Cross-examination. I like how there's swords going on either side. What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Alright, so when it happened, the only two people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witnesses' statements again, a little more carefully this time. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. Let's press them. Hold it! Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir, yes. Ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. What am I looking at? Oh, I can look at other people. Alright, they look fine. Okay. So let's keep talking. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though, no. Okay, they still look fine. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example? You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none. These 2 still look the same. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then? I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does. Every evening. That last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. They're still fine. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home just trying to warm up again. Okay, everybody's still the same. I have no reason to doubt what he just said. The victim and the man accused of killing him were set next to each other inside the bus. This I find odd, because if I were to enter a 4-seat cabin, 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, where the seats are very close, I would set catty corner to whoever else was sitting in there. I would sit opposite in the opposite corner, basically, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't sit right beside of them. That seems almost almost like disrespectful, unless there's like more people in the cabin. Let's press this.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. See, I can see the other two without having to turn the camera on this one. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There is no room for doubt here. Ugh, I really wish there was. Alright, we're gonna keep pressing. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. Now that, I don't believe. That this part can't be true. Unless our defendant is actually guilty. I think what he was seeing was him reaching over to try to help the man. Let's press this.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Ooh, he's got his cane out. Are fair dinkum hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no. I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. That's what he said. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord, you have a knife. Huh? Juror number 3? What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other they shouldn't be. Every one of them. What happened to the leather on your seat behind you? And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Wow, you guys literally put fire into the scales of justice? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. Hold it. That is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. What kind of kangaroo court is this? What is happening here? Let me see. Ah yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. I'm pretty sure it's not. With fire? Apparently yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a minute ago. And this fire has weight? So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, so does that mean? Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah, this is insane. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. Yeah, it kind of is. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it. Why'd you scream? He stabbed him, you say. And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. So that means not only were these two sitting beside each other inside the cab, but the two on top of the cab were sitting beside each other as well. Check it out. He is missing the button there too. I don't know if that's anything we should really care about, but he is. Also, in this picture here, our defendant does not have gloves on. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. So you didn't see it happen. A grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. The jury looks like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yeah, yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. That's the very one, sir. Is that? Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. Yeah, now you really are Dracula. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is. And furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please, no. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. You have no way of proving that. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. A largest knife that was found lodged into the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornamentation suggest it must be quite valuable. I'm telling you, it's the Lannister knife. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. Kangaroo court. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Are you going to be on our side or against us? I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Just 2 more left, huh? Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. Yep, so let's look at this knife. Examine. Okay. Assuming we can take the sheath off, but I want to look at it more. This could be a W. An ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. And it's beautifully gilded too. It must be very valuable, I should think. Ah, what is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, you know, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. But what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well that idea was quickly quashed. Alright, we're going to continue inspecting this dagger next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.